Hello, empowered investors, and greetings from downtown Dubai. Yes, that is the Burj Khalifa you can see behind me. Well, I don't know. Can you see behind me? It's kind of off that way, I think, a little bit, but whatever. Tallest building in the world. Dubai, as you probably know, is a pretty darn amazing place. It is my second time here. Well, I hosted my mastermind group here a few years back, and that was an amazing trip. We went to Burj Khalifa, did all the usual stuff, went to Atlantis, etc. Yesterday, I enjoyed a helicopter flight and got some great video and photos from about 1,500 feet above the ground. That was amazing, amazing. And that is about the same height as the observation deck on the tallest building in the world. So pretty incredible. I always say Dubai is the most amazing man-made environment in the entire world. It really is incredible. This morning, I met with a real estate broker here, and we talked about the marketplace. You probably don't know this, and I probably talked about it on a very old show a very, very long time ago. But in about 2005, I guess it was 2005, I hired a Dubai real estate consultant because I was interested in this market and talked to him a lot about the market. And of course, that was just before the Great Recession, the global financial crisis started. And I remember him saying to me that Dubai could never come down. The real estate market in Dubai could never face a bad spot, a crash, right? But that it did. All you had to do was wait a little longer. Never say never. That's a very dangerous way of thinking. This is a very cyclical market, but boy, on the right cycles, you can make a lot of money, just like in any cyclical market. But that requires a lot of good thinking and luck. And the past couple of years here have been very positively impacted by the Ukraine war. And after Russia invaded, a lot of that Russian money and a lot of that Ukrainian money flowed into this market, as did the people. And there is one thing, though, that's really interesting about Dubai that I think is different this time around. And that is that it used to be a market more based on speculators, more based on people that would just buy a property and they wouldn't be here. They would leave. They were just putting their money here than being in the property. But now, more and more, you're seeing people actually live in Dubai. And they're building some nice communities. And so I'm going to take a deeper look into this. And I don't know, maybe we'll offer it to you if it makes sense. But it's got to make sense, right? And it does seem like there are some things that come kind of close to making sense here. So more to come on that. I'll let you know. The first thing I want to talk about is the dollar, the BRICS, and the Trump tariffs. As I have said many times, I don't think the BRICS are that big a deal. Number one reason, maybe, other than them controlling a huge part of the global economy, but the number one reason they're not that big of a threat to the US dollar, I think, is because they are a mismatched group that can't get along amongst themselves. They have very significant conflicting interests. I mean, the only reason really, or the main reason they're together, is to trade outside of the dollar and to debase the dollar hegemony. And I just don't think this is that big of a threat to the dollar. Now, if it was a threat to the dollar, the US dollar, then that would actually be a good thing for real estate investors using my inflation-induced debt destruction strategy, because that would be extremely inflationary. The weaker the dollar gets, the more people trading outside of the dollar, the more power the dollar loses, the more it inflates. And the more it inflates, the more you profit from my trademark strategy of inflation-induced debt destruction. So that wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing at all. But is it going to happen? I doubt it, at least not anytime soon. Because now Trump is threatening all these tariffs against the BRICS Alliance, right? And so he's threatening to wield the tariff weapon. On Saturday, he threatened 100% tariffs against a block of 9 nations if they act to undermine the US dollar. His threat was directed at countries of the so-called BRIC Alliance, which consists of Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. And by the way, the inventor of the BRICS acronym added South Africa because he thought it sounded better with an S at the end. I mean, I'm not kidding, folks. You can't make this stuff up, right? These are just humans running the world. They're not necessarily super bright, super powerful elites. They're just people. And he thought it sounded better by adding South Africa and putting an S on the end. Yeah, look it up. You'll see. And then Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, and where I am right now, the UAE. So we'll see how this goes. Trump, in a Truth Social post, said, quote, "We require a commitment from these countries that they will neither create a new BRICS currency nor back any other currency to replace the mighty US dollar, or they will face 100% tariffs and should expect to say goodbye to selling into the wonderful US economy." Now, look, I'm a libertarian, you know that. I'm mostly a free trade guy. That's my leaning, right? But, I think there is a place for some reasonable tariffs. 100%, that's pretty significant. But look, folks, if anybody wants access to our markets, they need to pay the price of admission. I mean, think about it. If these tariffs happened and the government efficiency office succeeds, which it will, at least to some large extent. I don't know if it'll succeed in all of its goals, but it'll succeed to a large extent. I know that. And you know it too, because two of the most capable people in the world are running it, Elon and Vivek. I mean, these guys are definitely winners. They know how to get things done, and they're going to get stuff done. It's exciting. It's an amazing time to be alive. But can you imagine if the government gets a lot more efficient and the government charges tariffs? Now, the tariff would be inflationary to US consumers, but that would only be on selected items, right? The tariffs are very surgical. Now, it might not sound surgical if he says 100% on all the BRICS, but there's a lot of places to get goods and services, right? You can make them in the US. Oh, imagine that, made in America. What a great idea, right? There are other countries from which to import that wouldn't necessarily be hit with tariffs, right? But all of this extra revenue coming into the government and the government being more efficient at the same time, wow, the government is going to have more money to reduce the debt, reduce the deficit, spend on efficient, good government programs, or best of all, lower your taxes and make the US a more business-friendly place, bringing in more FDI, foreign direct investment. And the US has always been very friendly to FDI, one of the reasons it's so successful. But you look at a place like Dubai and how capital just flows here because money always goes where it's treated best. Money always goes where it's treated best. Well, the US dollar is by far the most used currency in global business and has survived past challenges to its preeminence. Members of the alliance and other developing nations say they are fed up with America's dominance of the global financial system. The dollar represents roughly 58% of the world's foreign exchange reserves, according to the IMF, and major commodities like oil are still primarily bought and sold using US dollars. The dollar's dominance is threatened, however, with BRICS' growing share of GDP and the alliance's intent to trade in non-dollar currencies, a process known as de-dollarization. Folks, it ain't going to happen. That's my prediction. I mean, look, it's already happening a little bit. When I say it ain't going to happen, that's a figure of speech, but it ain't going to happen in any big significant way. Even though the US has definitely weaponized the dollar, after the Ukraine invasion by Russia, the US definitely weaponized the dollar. But folks, this is not new. Yes, it got a lot worse for these other countries. The dollar became a bigger weapon, no question about it, right? With all the Russian sanctions. But Russia has been sanctioned since the 70s. This is not a new idea. And my sense of it, although none of us really know, and I certainly don't know, I don't have any insider information, unfortunately, but my sense of it is that Trump is going to be successful in ending the war and brokering a deal, a peace deal. Ukraine is going to have to make some concessions, no doubt about that. The sanctions against Russia will reduce, the weaponization of the dollar will reduce, and this whole thing is going to subside. There will still be some energy toward it, of course, with the BRICS and other countries want to trade outside the dollar. Of course, that's always going to exist. And it's always going to happen to some extent, but it's just not going to be that meaningful. All right, Wednesday, we have our cost segregation masterclass. Do not miss this. Go to jasonhartman.com/Wednesday to join. It's totally free, and you can save money and time with cost segregation. This is a no-brainer for 98.7% of all real estate investors should do this. 100% should attend the free masterclass and check this out, because this is a very, very powerful tool for you. And to show my level of dedication, I will be in a massively different time zone. And I'm going to try to be up for this and, and awake and present. So join us for sure. This is going to be a great masterclass, and it's a great way to round out the year with some great tax savings that you have got to act on right away to get the deduction this year so you can save big on your taxes. Okay, this property is in Nashville, just under 1,500 square feet for $255,000, requiring about $71,000 all in with down payment and closing costs based on 25% down. Projected rent is $2,000 per month. So you can see the rent to value ratio is not bad by today's standards. It's actually pretty good. This is a suburb of Nashville, just a 30-minute commute to the city, one of the fastest growing metros in the country, growing by 86 people per day last year, according to the US Census. And major employers are Vanderbilt University Medical Center, Nissan North America, HCA Healthcare, Bridgestone Americas. 24,000 jobs were added last year, particularly in technology and healthcare sectors. Those are really good sectors, folks, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics and the Nashville Chamber of Commerce. So looking at this property a little bit more, you've got all your expenses, positive cash flow. Positive cash flow is projected at $411 per month, or just about $5,000 per year in positive cash flow. And your overall return on investment projected at 32% annually. As I always say, if it only goes half as well as expected, you're still doing great. 16% ROI is fantastic on the most historically proven asset class in the entire world and the most tax-favored asset class in America, especially if you do cost segregation and join us for our Wednesday masterclass. Our investment counselors are available to help you with this property or any properties you want to consider or any markets you want to consider in a whole bunch of different areas around the United States. We have a great team of people, and reach out to them through jasonhartman.com, or you can call 714-820-4200, 714-820-4200, and reach out to any of our investment counselors. They'll be glad to help you build your portfolio, do a portfolio makeover. This is a great thing to do around the end of the year, to do a portfolio makeover and really, really take a look at the highest and best use of any assets you have. So our investment counselors are here to do that. It's all free, totally available. We make our money through our referral network, so our investment counselors are there for you at no charge at all.